What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream recording here for Monday's 7-game main slate. James, love 7 games. Call it the wheelhouse slate all the time. And this is a pretty interesting one from a matchup standpoint. Dealing with some top stars here on this slate. Dealing with some top guys also ruled out already. This will be one of the first main slates we've had with LaMelo Ball. Also for us to have some access to. Obviously, he made his debut the other night against Miami, so it should be overall a good one to build out here.
Yeah, fun slate. We got some back-to-backs. Who's on a back-to-back? We got Golden State on a back-to-back. Is that it? Is that the only one that I see on a back-to-back?
I don't think these other teams played yesterday, so
yeah. So I guess that's interesting to monitor, John, because we know Golden State has been a team that has weirdly been resting guys. I guess I shouldn't say weirdly, but OKC. Oh, great. OKC and the Knicks played that noon game yesterday.
Oh, right.
There was 200. There was 280 points scored in that game.
Yeah.
145 to 135.
63 so FP from SGA.
Yeah, guys.
Price drop, by the way, and Gilgeous-Alexander for the slate. So yeah.
He also went from like plus 800 to plus 200 on most improved player overnight. So in case you wanted to know where those odds stood, but yeah, I mean, it should be a fun slate. When you look at Vegas, OKC, Boston actually is the second highest total, 228.5. Boston giving 12 at home, and they're expected to be at full strength there against the Thunder. Slate high, Golden State, San Antonio. That should be actually a very fun game considering neither one of those teams have played any lick of defense. 232.5. Spurs, I think, have surprised a lot of people. Plus, they're getting 7.5 points in Golden State. Like, that's pretty surprising. We've seen the Clippers and Rockets. This will be the third time this year. I think that game is disappointed twice. 220 total.
Atlanta, Milwaukee again. Right?
We're getting Atlanta, Milwaukee with no Holiday, but Giannis expected to play today. Right. So, chalk Giannis.
Grayson Allen's still dealing with that illness that sunk my lineup the other day.
Yep, same. Kudos. I mean, it was not just you and I either. Like half of our Discord, we all were like 10%. It's maybe something to look into, right? Why he was only 10% owned, only getting a slight price increase when we had no news that Grayson Allen wasn't going to be on the floor. Makes you wonder something in the water there, John. But
nobody reported that he wasn't on that shoot around.
Not a single report. Not a single report.
And the team put him out in their official starting lineup. So
yep. I'm telling you, like, that doesn't make sense because he was popular the night prior or the game prior. And he did not get a massive price increase. Like, It wasn't like he went from 46 to 6K. He was 5K. So why was Grayson Allen not owned? I think that is fishy. I'm not going to lie. I think that's a little weird, but I digress. And we move on to Monday slate where should be a good one. Phoenix, Miami, by the way, a slate low 215. Not very fun there.
Yep. All right, let's go point guard here. Curry at the top of 10-2. Let down a game yesterday. Just 42 fantasy points against Sacramento. And a game where, again, went 122-115 final. So high scoring. He got off to a strong start, and then second half just completely kind of disappeared there. But we've seen him against them also 3 games prior. Went for 47. This time he's got San Antonio. We know it's in his bag. This is the first meeting for these teams, or at least for Curry, in this spot this year. So we'll see if he can bounce back. We know he's definitely capable of doing so. Trae Young's also at 10K. We've preferred Trae over DeJounte when both have been active for this season here. No Drew Holiday is actually a pretty good thing here for Trae Young. We know Drew is a pretty strong defender, so taking him off the floor, an easier matchup there. And then we have, again, SGA at $8,900, LaMelo at $86. I'll kind of cut off our top 4 guards there. How are you prioritizing your builds?
Man, I definitely think you can get to Curry. It's a fast tempo game, 2 poor defenses. Golden State's first in pace, Spurs in 5th, right? 2 teams under 500, 2 teams identical defensive ratings. They're 28th and 27th in defensive rating. Like, they're bad defensive teams. There's a high total. Like, you can definitely get to Curry if he plays. And I expect he does. because Golden State needs to win games, man. Like, they're not winning games. They've lost now, what, 6 of 7?
They're healthy and they're losing, which is like
Yeah.
the unexpected thing here.
Yeah, 6 of 7. They're 5-8 on the year. The Spurs are actually 1 game ahead of them in the standings. So if Curry's active, which, we'll find out. I think let's see, has he played back-to-back this year?
I'm sure he has.
has
He hasn't missed
not.
many games, so.
He has not played. He's played 1 back-to-back. So if Curry's in the lineup, perfectly fine going there. Trey, I think, is fine. Haven't really seen the ceiling. Again, we talked about it earlier in the year. Like, the ceiling comes when the shot's falling. He's only shot better than 40% once in his last 6 games.
Yeah.
So he needs to start shooting the ball better. Not really getting to DeJounte at 98. Not a lot of interest there. Really hard. Like, dude, there is like a 0% chance SGA is not a 10K player at this point.
Right.
0. So, like, I don't... I will sink with this ship. I get Marcus Smart's there, and I get, like, Boston does have some, like, pesky wing defenders. Like, Derek White's a good defender, and there's no Brogdon, who is a good defender. And we know Smart, reigning defensive player of the year. I'm going to play SGA 8,900. I don't care who knows it.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned, like, he is coming off 63.
It's the 3rd lowest price he's been all year. The opening night he was 87, then he went to 95, then he went to 88, and he hasn't been under 9K since. So.
And he's gone for 63 times this year. Like, and more often than not, he's gone for 50. Like, I don't understand the pricing, and I'm perfectly fine going there. And even if he's chalky, and I love seeing LaMelo play 28 minutes, Sean. Yeah. I did. Even in a blowout, he didn't shoot the ball well, but
never shoots the ball well.
Never. I think there was improvement last year for LaMelo shooting the basketball. But
9 threes though, so there are going to be days where like he hits 4 of those, and he pops.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Orlando's that spot for him,
Yeah, and dude, and 28 minutes, there's foul trouble involved. Obviously, there, 5 fouls. Yeah. Another thing we have to worry about.
Another thing always has to deal with, to the point where sometimes the coach takes him out of the rotation, like because he fouls too much. So
we have a new coach in Charlotte this year, so new old coach because they brought Clifford back, but 6 rebounds, 6 assists in 28 minutes, like something that we're accustomed to seeing with LaMelo, and without Bridges and Hayward hurt, he's going to score 20 a game. Yeah. Like it's almost certain that he's scoring 20 a game. If we're also getting, and I assume we're going to get an uptick in assists too. We know how good of a passer is and a good rebounding guard. Like, there's a lot of upside at 8,600. I actually could see when we get our first ownership run, probably around 4:00 Eastern, that we see LaMelo pretty highly owned.
Yeah, again, another price drop. He was 92 on the opening day on his opening slate against Miami, and now he's 86. So, yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind the area there. We're waiting, obviously, on the Chris Paul news. If he's out, we'll play Booker again against Miami. Like, I'm fine going there. KPJ, Kyle Lowry, thoughts on this range?
Lowry's been pretty good. He's been up and down lately. Did have a double-double with the 11 rebounds. How sustainable is that? I don't know. He's a good rebounding guard, but 11 rebounds is a lot. 8 assists is also kind of above the average too.
Yeah, he's kind of alternating, right? 7-3, 8-3.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, 7K doesn't feel like a great price in a 215 total when it's clearly the worst game on the board. But maybe if Tyler Hero sits out again, like if Hero's back, I'm not playing Lowry at 7K.
Right.
If Hero's in or if Hero's out, I would consider it. KPJ, nah. It's like 36 points against them. It's a tough spot, man. Like, the Clippers are, I think, last in pace. No,
he had 41 fantasy points the last time they played.
Okay.
22, 7, and 7. I think he just had a dud. It was a back-to-back matchups. He went for 30 and then 41 back-to-back matchups.
Okay, maybe tournaments then. KPJ profile is better as a tournament play anyway. They're just for context, Clippers 3rd in defensive rating this year behind the Bucks and the Suns. So good defensive unit.
Okay. Going to the 6K range, anybody stand out to you?
I mean, I'll let you talk about your boy if you want. Coming off, we finally have arrived, John.
Triple double?
It is Josh Giddey season.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey season is upon us. Or is it? I mean, look at the last 3 games though. Like we've had 9 plus rebounds, we've had 5 plus assists, and the scoring 15 plus points in all 3 of those games. Like I don't know if the triple doubles are sustainable, but he almost had one in 23 minutes. Like if he plays 35 minutes, does he triple double in that Toronto game? Maybe.
Probably. Yeah. I guess my worry, of course, is the blowout. You said that Boston's giving 12.
Yeah, they're giving 12.
High game total again. Boston isn't playing much defense, but I mean they blew out the Nuggets the other day, and Jokic only played like 28 minutes in that game. So
well, Jokic, to be fair, foul trouble again.
Yeah.
Which is something that we have to monitor because he's getting in foul trouble seemingly every game. So
I don't mind Giddey at 65. I agree with you. Good price for the recent production. Again, just Celtics offensively are a wagon. Defensively, they struggle, but OKC is not the most efficient team. So even on some defensive deficiencies Boston's having, like they could go on a 12-0 run and the game could just be kind of lights there. So I don't mind it. I'm not going to play Payne at 63. Even if Paul's out, I don't think I'm going to pay Payne at 63.
The production's been good. Yeah, the production's been good. 35, 46 fantasy points.
It's just a big price.
It is a big price. It's the same thing can kind of be said for Javon Carter, right? Like $6K for Javon Carter, knowing Giannis is back.
Well, that's the thing. With Giannis back, I don't have any interest. We talked about the usage rate when Giannis and Drew were out. It was like 28%.
Sure.
He was just a monster.
Sure.
Let's see here. John Wall already ruled out. That's interesting for that.
I would play Poole if guys. I mean, obviously, I think we all would. But if guys are ruled out for Golden State, Jordan Poole for him, they play.
Trey Jones playing good ball.
Yeah, he's good, dude. He's a good little player. Those Joneses, they're all good little point guards, right? Like they're all solid. Yeah, I mean he plays 30 plus minutes and kind of fills it up. And I don't think a lot of people will get here. Another guy. What is with these price decreases, dude? 42, 35, 32 fantasy points in 3 straight games constitutes a price drop.
I know.
Like, what? I don't understand. This feels chalky to me. This feels pretty chalky. 5,500.
You like the matchup. You get late night hammer exposure. It's a high game total.
This feels a little chalky to me.
Yep. Gabe Vincent again. If Tyler Hero's out, I'll play that again. I've been playing it the last couple slates.
Dude, he's a scorer. He's a shooter. He's a scorer.
You said it 3 years ago when they called him up from the G League. You're like, play Gabe Vincent. He's gonna shoot, and he did. So.
You know what? We need to listen to ourselves more about guys that shoot the basketball.
Yes.
If
anybody that's out there with no regard for passing, you want to
right.
Killian Hayes. Listen, I know there were some questions, obviously, on I think it was Friday, right, or Saturday in the Discord. They put out a starting lineup. Detroit did first, and it had Joseph in it, and then an update came and it had Hayes. You pivoted to Hayes. You almost took down a tournament on was it Saturday or
Friday night?
Yeah, almost
Friday night.
Almost
no, Saturday night. No, Saturday.
Saturday. Came in third. Had Killian Hayes in your lineup. Hayes was not in any of the content that we put out for Saturday, right? But we were in the Discord and we answered questions about Killian Hayes, and I kind of went through and saw someone in our Discord. I think was it Spencer maybe put it in there. Asking about Killian Hayes being a better play than Corey Joseph. You replied saying like 100% yes, way higher ceiling now that he was starting. You played Killian Hayes, who's expensive. This is what we talk about. Like we're going to do our best to be better at updating content when these significant news breaks happen. But the Discord is really the resource for those kind of content updates that we put out.
Right.
So we're in the Discord to talk through these late breaking roster changes. It takes a lot more time, and again, we can be better at doing it. It takes a lot more time for us to go through, update all the pieces of content, update the projections, do all those things. By the time that all gets completed and published and posted, it takes minutes, where it takes seconds for us to go in the Discord and be like, hey, he's now starting, put him in your lineups, great opportunity for him to be in there. And I know not everybody can be in the Discord, and we certainly, again, we'll do our best to be better at updating the written content, but written content comes out 3-4 hours before roster lock,
right?
And we say check the Discord for all those updates, discussions, and things like that. So you played Hayes smashed. And if he's going to start again, which he should here, I know you talk a lot about Toronto playing slow, and you're not really a big fan generally of those matchups, but this is a lottery pick point guard. Like,
It sure was.
he's taken a little bit of time to develop his offensive game, but that was said about him when he was drafted. Last 3 games, offense has been there, double-digit scoring. He's filling the stat sheet up. If he's going to start again against Detroit with Cade out, I have no problem playing the 44 for him.
Yeah. And Toronto playing a little faster last 10 games. I'm looking at it. They're 17th in pace. So, like, they're speeding it up a little bit. So, I agree. Now, I think it's worth mentioning Alec Burks is not on the injury report for this game.
Sure.
He played 25 minutes on the 11th. And again, I don't know if that's going to impact Hayes because
he played
they both played on the 11th.
Game, so.
And Hayes played 34 minutes. So I don't think it will impact him. Just is something to consider. But man, it's great to see. And like, he's been bad. Like, we said it when he did not look NBA ready when he first took the floor. Like, he looked like he had no idea what he was doing. We're getting double-digit shot attempts. He's making shots. He's setting his teammates up. He's active on the glass. Like, now 4,400 is a different price point, but if he's going to start, we don't have to worry. I think with Burks probably just completely removes Corey Joseph from the equation.
Right.
Like, Corey Joseph will not play, and he's questionable anyway, but even if he was active, I don't think Corey Joseph would play a single minute. I think he's at that point of his career where it's like, we're not playing Corey Joseph because, he's not, like, so he shouldn't be playing on this team with, like, such young talent. But, yeah, I like Hayes. I obviously like them a little more at 3,600. I think this makes you think about it a little more because you need, 22 fantasy points, 24 fantasy
22.
points.
Yep, 22 for
22 fantasy points for 5x. And we've seen Killian Hayes, not hit 33 all that often throughout his young career, but he is still super, super young. And he is showing some talent. So I like Hayes. I also kind of like Alec Burks, John, 4,400, to be honest.
Yep.
Look, 25 minutes in that debut, man. Like, you have been the Alec Burks whisperer for like years, like
all the way back to his Utah Jazz days.
Literally back to the Utah Jazz days, and like, we know teams hate playing Hamidou Diallo. Like, they just never want to play this guy, so he's never going to play more than 15 minutes. And I think Burks can serve as like that swing man because they don't really have, like, Isaiah Livers is their backup wing, and
assume Tyler Hero's out. Rank Vincent, Burks, and Hayes for me.
Vincent, Burks, Hayes. I would go Hayes, Vincent, Burks probably would be the order I'd go. With Hero out. I really like Phoenix second in defensive rating this year.
Sure.
Still a tough matchup even if Hero's out, right? Like, it's just not a very enticing
Last
spot.
point guard for me, thoughts on Malachi Flynn, $3,200. Played 22 minutes. No Fred VanVleet.
Another thing we talked about in the Discord that night, because our good friend Sticks was like, well, why did you play? Why wasn't Gary Trent in that lineup, essentially?
Right.
Because I was in Discord that night touting Gary Trent, and I had Gary Trent in 3 of 4, but I've been preaching this a lot lately. We don't need to go 100% on anybody. Right. We don't, because that just handicaps your lineup. As my other 3 lineups, the one that almost took it down didn't have Gary Trent. My other 3 finished like last.
Right.
But I had Gary Trent, and Gary Trent got benched in that game. He shot horribly, and Flynn benefited. I don't know if that happens again. Like, I don't expect Gary Trent to go 1 for 12 from the floor or whatever it was. 1 for 13. Sorry, I gave him too much credit. And just flat out get benched. Like, we know that's not really Nick Nurse style. Like, the game before, blowout minutes, only 24.
I'm a little surprised they don't play Flynn. I know they like Scotty Barnes at point guard for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But, like, Malachi Flynn is shown when giving playing time minutes. Like, he's been a good player for Toronto.
Sure.
I'm just surprised that they don't make that sort of transition to using him as their backup guard for when VanVleet's out. So maybe if they do make a switch and Flynn is in a starting lineup, he'll be very popular at 3,200. But still, just looking at the backup guard rotation, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just more of a dart throw play there against.
If he's starting, I agree, John. by the way. Like if he's starting, he's going to be incredibly popular.
Yeah.
But I have my doubts just considering like we see Gary Trent get benched and then Flynn's minutes. Sure. The only time Flynn's minutes have been where they were on Saturday was because the benching.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious with the Van Fleet thing, what that end of rotation finishes as, I guess.
Agreed.
Shooting guard, Paul George against Houston at 10-1. We saw this matchup. He hit bingo for us there.
Sure.
For 75 fantasy points in the first matchup. Let us down on the second one. Only came through with 41, but had 28 actual. What version of Paul George shows up for this one?
I mean, it's really, really hard to get to 10-1, I think. Now, he has the hit bingo in his back pocket. Like, he's done it a couple times this year. He hit 62 on the second game of the year, and he hit 75 in that first Houston game. He has that in his back pocket, and he's been really good scoring the basketball outside of the Brooklyn game. And this is a great spot, great pace, great everything. But I just think 10-1's very hard to get to. Tournament play only for me.
Okay. Booker, if there's no Paul, we're always going to be interested in that. We talked Jaylen Brown a lot at 8,500. He just kind of consistently gives you the 45. Yeah. So cash game play maybe for JB.
Yeah, man. Love to see the 8 assists, 8 rebounds too. I was watching that game. When I was watching that game, because you and I both had a low and Joker in that game, and it was like super annoying to watch. But dude, he was every time there was every play involved Jaylen Brown in that game. Like whether it was a rebound, an assist, going to the basket, hitting threes. Like I felt like he was the best player on the floor that night, and he can be that guy. And he has been a lot of the time. So yeah, I'm coming around to Brown's mid-8 price. I still wish it was a little cheaper, but I'm coming around.
Okay. If Banchero is out, do you like Franz, or would you play Franz anyway? 68 for him. Vassell's 67, kind of that mid-6 range.
I think I'd rather Vassell. You and I have been talking about it a lot. Like Vassell's been a baller, dude. Yeah. 20 or more actual, and what? How many games has he played this year? So 8 of his last 9 games, he's given us at least 20 points.
He'll be the chalkier of the two.
So if you want to pivot, go to Franz.
Jaden Ivey at $6,200, coming off of some really strong performances. A letdown game against the Knicks. Only played 25 minutes in that game. But around that 49, 45, and 35. 2 of those against Boston. He scored 26 actual against Boston on Saturday.
Dude, I'm so happy that Dwayne Casey decided, you know what, let's rest our 20-year-old on the front end of a back-to-back. Let's only play him 25 minutes in a non-blowout situation. That's so nice of him, right? Like, yeah, he's a great play as long as we find out there's no back-to-back tomorrow, because apparently if there is, he's only going to play 25 minutes, right? Like, what kind of BS was that? Yeah. No, I think Jaden Ivey's a great play, 62.
It's weird because he played a back-to-back on 10:30 and 10:31. He played 40 minutes in the second, played 31 in the first.
Dude, there was no reason for him to be limited whatsoever. None.
I will say this. The front end of back-to-backs this year, he has played fewer minutes. Coincidence, probably, but 10:21, 29 minutes. 10:22, played 34. 10:30, played 31. 10:31, he played 40.
I'm looking at the schedule. Yeah. Do we have? No, we don't play again until Thursday.
Okay, there you go. Ivy at 62, great spot.
Yep.
Let's see here. Bounce back for Clay. Actually, not bounce back. He was good last night. He got off to a little bit of a slow start, but finished strong there, 35 fantasy points.
I actually think Kerr announced he's not going to play back-to-backs. Yeah, on 11-4, Coach Steve Kerr noted that Klay Thompson may not play both ends of back-to-backs for the whole season.
Okay. Well, then we can consider Jordan Poole, like you mentioned, then.
Yep. So don't expect to see Klay here.
All right. Well, Jordan Poole is pretty elite at 5,800.
Sure. Very elite.
Can run it back with Gary Trent?
Very willing. Dude, again, another conversation we had in Discord, on paper, and sometimes, we should trust our gut, and sometimes we should trust what the numbers tell us. I trusted over the last 2 seasons that Gary Trent, without Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, I trusted the numbers, and they were elite. And you know what? I'm going to go back to that well again, because we have a 2-year sample. Gary Trent has a 28.5% usage. That is 3.1% higher than anybody else on the team. And he averages 1.03 fantasy points per minute, only behind Chris Boucher. And I'm excluding Precious Achiuwa because Precious Achiuwa is also out. So like, I'm fully willing to go back to that well, and it's a good matchup. Detroit's not good defensively. Detroit is dead last defensively right now in defensive rating. So I'm willing to go right back to that well on Gary Trent, and you know what, I'm not going to say he's a core play, but I'm also not going to not say that because he's 5,600, and we know that he's lightning in a bottle when he gets hot offensively.
Sure. 3 straight good games for Norm Powell. There's no John Wall. There's still no Kawhi Leonard. $4,800.
Welcome back to Earth, Norm.
Can he consistently hit shots for us now? What do you think?
That's the only thing he does. So he needs to. I mean, when you look at the logs, he has 1 game with more than 4 rebounds and 1 game with more than 3 assists. He does get a steal every game, pretty much 6 straight games with at least 1 steal.
Occasionally gives us a block.
Occasionally, every full moon he gives you a block.
Yeah. 22 or more fantasy points in 4 of the last 5.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I may instead pivot to someone like Alec Burks at 44.
Sure.
Even maybe Luke Kennard 4K with John Wall out. Maybe we see him in the starting lineup, but I don't hate Norm at 48.
Okay. Anybody else for you?
Josh Richardson minutes, low 20s if you want to go there. It's a great spot. Terrence Mann, not really playing.
DiVincenzo played 23 minutes, but I don't know if he's going to first game back.
True. Maybe that's interesting if and when Clay is officially out.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if he would play back-to-backs too, being his first.
True. That's a good point. But it wasn't. Oh, it was a serious injury last year. He lost but it's a hamstring, so at least it's different injury than it was last year. Maybe depending on and if that maybe puts Moses Moody in play too. Sure. The only unfortunate thing is Golden State announced that they're not going to play these young guys that don't play defense. Steve Kerr made a statement I'm not playing guys who don't play defense. So Moody, Wiseman, they're not playing. Yeah, they're all out. And
Kuminga was he's made an announcement. Kuminga will be in our rotation moving forward. He still doesn't play. So.
You know who has been, John? Anthony Lamb has been in their rotation, which is super weird. He only played 14 minutes last night, but has weirdly entered their rotation. Something to consider. I guess he's a power forward, but
sure.
We'll see what happens and who's in and all that good stuff tonight.
Small forward, Jason Tatum at 10.8. Very expensive for Jason Tatum.
That is the coming off a monster game bump,
yeah.
And not factoring in that they're at full strength tonight.
Yep. If Banchero's healthy, I'll play him at 87. I think that's fine for Charlotte.
Yep, sure.
Barnes and OG at 8K and 74 against Detroit. You can play them both. I'm fine.
Dude, I'm sorry. I just don't want to get to Scotty Barnes at 8K.
You can play them both. OG is the better option.
Yeah, right, I agree. I just don't. I like the 16 shots. That's great. And if he makes half of those, he gives you 40 fantasy points. I just don't know what the ceiling is at 8K. That's just my argument all the time with Scotty Barnes when they price him up like this. Where's the ceiling at 8K?
Are we getting closer to a Chris Middleton return here? He's not listed as out. He's listed as questionable.
Ooh. He's returned to the Bucks. Expected to be out another couple weeks. They assigned him to the G League.
Yeah, he returned 11-1.
And he's now back
to the
on
Bucks
the team
after being sent to Wisconsin. So.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah,
something to pay attention to.
Yeah, something to pay attention to, sure.
Now, I don't think he'll come back and play 35 minutes out of the jump, but
no.
Something to start monitoring there is that Middleton isn't officially ruled out yet. So, Wiggins at 69, I like. It plays out for sure. I think Go Keldon at 71. Those two are fine. If no Chris Paul, I'll go back to Mikal Bridges. I know he didn't hit the ceiling last time out, but I don't mind the 64.
Sure.
100 for him. Grant Williams keeps starting. I don't mind it. Again, ceiling game for him, but he played against Denver and had 29 fantasy points. So, think he's usable. Big price bump for him though, from 41 to 53.
We just need the shots to continue to be there. We can't have the 0 or 4 shot game. We need the 8 to 12 shots for Grant Williams.
If Banchero is out, Chuma at $4,800. Go right back
Yep.
to that well.
Yep, he'll start. He's a good fantasy point per minute guy for sure.
Anybody else for you?
What was Jalen McDaniels? Played good minutes, back-to-back games. I guess he's in play just for the minutes, but like, Eric Gordon has been okay. 25, 18, 30 fantasy points last 3. I think he's fine. He's usable. Would you go Otto Porter if he were to start again?
He played 27 minutes. I don't mind it.
20 minutes. He just didn't take a lot of shots, but we know Otto Porter can shoot, dude. Like, shoot the basketball. Good peripherals. Otto Porter's a good peripheral guy. Duncan Robinson, 35. If Hero's out, he clearly has a role again. 23 to 29 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that Hero's been out, so for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a solely based on Hero play.
Yep. All right, power forward. Giannis again at the top if he's healthy. Again, I haven't been paying the $12K for these guys. Luka finally went for 85 at his $12K price tag. Like, that's what we need out of these guys when they're this expensive. No Drew Holiday, like he can probably get here against Atlanta, but I just don't want to pay it.
I mean, the thing is, like, it's. I agree, and
I'd rather play Curry at 10K.
We have, it's a great spot. I'm not gonna like say you're wrong because you're not. Like, it's a tremendous spot. Last 2 years though, like without Middleton, without Holiday, Giannis 38.7% usage. This is just stupid. 1.86 fantasy points per minute. Like, dude, like if he plays in that ballpark, if he plays 30 minutes, that's 60 fantasy points. He's been averaging 32, 33. If this is a competitive game, which it figures to be, and he plays, we saw some 36, 37s early. I mean, there's 70, 80 fantasy point ceiling. Just given
you just need
what
it, though. That's the thing.
No, I agree. And we don't have like all the value that we've had is all priced up because they've played so well, and we don't have like, I don't think you and I have pinpointed, other than Detroit, really pinpointed like elite value to this point.
There was that section of 4K guards that we liked.
Yeah, the 4K guards. So like I would say, so the other night, what I did, my lineup construction, right? I played one Luka lineup. I played one Embiid lineup. I played, but not Embiid, but Embiid was 11K or whatever he was. So like, point remains. If you're playing multiple lineups, I think it would hurt you more than it would help you to fade Giannis completely. If you're playing one lineup and you can't get to Giannis comfortably, that's fine. But if you're playing multiple lineups, you should have Giannis because there's always the possibility that he goes for 80, right?
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way, right? 6x at Giannis's current price tag is 74 fantasy points. So,
but 6x, his 6x is a little different than like Draymond Green's 6x because Draymond Green's 5'8". Like, if Giannis goes for 6x, like I'm not expecting Giannis to go for 10x at 12.4. If Giannis goes 6 to 7x, it's like, holy cow.
Though Embiid did go at 10x yesterday at 10K. So.
That's fair. We've seen 200-point games, right? And they've both come from Embiid over the last handful of years.
Giannis has that in his bag. He went for 26, 14, and 11, but no blocks, no steals against Minnesota. So,
and we know like that, like the blocks and steals are a large part of it. Like people think that this guy is like one of the best defenders in the league. So, John, like again, if you're building one lineup and not comfortable getting there, fine. I just think his 6x being 74 fantasy points is just a step above everyone else's 6x. Sure. Like I understand if you're like saying like 5x just to get 5x, but he's smashing sometimes that 5x range. So I don't know, just a thought, just our thoughts on that,
Yep, I hear you. I'm not gonna play Butler 91. I'm not. I don't know how you feel about it.
I played him in one of my lineups the other night, and I think it's kind of what could have been if that game stayed a little more competitive because Butler's playing 35 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And largely lately. It's been like 37 or more. So again, what could have been like maybe he does double, maybe he does triple, and then we have back-to-back like monster games. Would need Hero out to even consider it though.
Yep. Mid-tier guys: Portis, Bull, Marcus Morris, Max Struss. Which one of those? These 5K range jumps out.
You know what's hilarious, and the writing's on the wall, John. Giannis is going to come back, and Portis is going to absolutely smash, and no one's going to play him.
Yeah,
because he's priced up. Like Giannis is still out, and he's not like he didn't let us down last game, but I think people were probably expecting like 50.
Yeah.
Like they were without Giannis and Drew the last 2 games. He's absolutely going to smash. Just throwing it out there. Probably can't get there at 74. Bobo is just you never know when the minutes are going to be there. This doesn't feel like a spot they would because they play Oubre at small forward and doesn't feel like it, but who knows? And I'm not 63 for Marcus Morris, although very good spot. Probably not getting there.
Yeah, he's been consistent. Maybe a better cash game option.
I like Struss though, dude. How about your boy? Just
on a slate that I didn't play him, of course.
I just snapping. It's just it's another tough spot, but Hero's out. If Hero's out, tournaments, I think it's fine.
Draymond's been a little bit better lately. Again, we'll see the back-to-backs. If you can either go there. Boucher, again, as long as he can stay out of foul trouble, he's going to play 30 minutes here against Detroit.
Yep, and take a ton of... I mean, dude, he's a very high-usage guy. He only took 9 shots in an OKC game, but he took 10 free throws. He is very active with his hands defensively, as you mentioned, and he's very active offensively and on the glass and stuff. So, I love the Boucher call there. Great spot.
Any other value, guys, for you? It's not really a great value group.
Dude, we're missing the Pokashevsky thing is so annoying. It's so annoying.
I mean, there's no Basley either, and they still didn't play him. So
he's so good, and then they don't play him. I just don't understand. You and I both love Tari Eason.
Yeah, maybe Bojan. Bojan's been popping lately, 35 to 41.
Yeah, man, Bojan, for sure. And I think Beef Stew got hurt a little bit by the Bagley return. Where is Bagley? Is Bagley only a center, or did we pass him? Yeah, he's center only. I want to see. He played 16 minutes in his debut. I don't think we can get to Beef Stew if you want as like a last piece. That's probably fine. Same thing with probably PJ Washington, like as a last piece option. You could play Chuma here.
So can't play 29 minutes, 30 minutes.
Thad Young, 3,900. 27 fantasy points,
he played 34 minutes. So if he starts, you have to trust that he's going to be out there, right?
I mean, they're out Van Vliet, right? So
no Siakam, no Van Vliet.
They're in the same spot. No Achua. So they're in the same spot they were. Like, it's probably
we've always said this about that. When he gets the minutes, he's a productive guy. He gave you 3 steals. Gives you the defensive stats, rebounds. So
he's a good player, dude. I don't understand why.
And they gave him double eligibility, which is great because last slate he was power forward only.
True. I think Thad 39 is probably all like the lowest we need to go. I don't unless there's Warriors out and we pivot to them, but
if Draymond's out, like him and go maybe.
Sure.
All right, center Bam against Phoenix, Wendell Carter against Charlotte. Both kind of priced up a bit there. Zubac against Houston. I think we had the Sengun-Zubac battle, right? Then there was this a big matchup there. The first game, Zubac went for 41. The second game was a big letdown. Only played 25 minutes. And that one got into foul trouble. And Sengun against the Clippers there, 430. And then he had 48 in that second game. Also fouled out in that game. So
Classic. Dude, there are so many foul-happy players.
He fouled that last game, too, in 19 minutes. So
I know, I don't want to talk about it. I'm okay with playing both. But I think you have to understand that they're probably both just tournament plays because I think Bam is fine all formats, especially if there's no Tyler Hero. Love what we've seen out of Bam, especially on the glass lately, 15 and 14 rebounds. 4 of his last 5 games. He had one double-digit rebound game in all of October, and then has had 4 of his last 5 in November. So I like Bam a lot. Wendell Carter's fine, and Zubac and Sengun for tournaments for sure.
Yep. Jakob Poeltl has a good spot against Golden State. You've been talking about attacking Golden State with bigs.
Yep. And he smashed the last couple games.
Yeah, he's been great. Lopez has been good, even playing with Giannis this year.
Yep.
Capella's been a monster.
Yep.
In the 6K range. So
is Ngannou out still?
No.
He's back.
Yep.
Okay. Because I mean Capella's been playing good minutes. Like he played 26 or so. Yeah, 26 or more in 3 straight. But he played 33 without Ngannou. So would have liked to see Ngannou out. But you can go there in tournaments. He'll be low owned.
Plumlee, we've talked about him. He's just getting minutes, doing the Lord's work.
He's just he is always going to find minutes for whatever team he plays for, and I just don't understand it.
Yep. That's it for me, though. I got no other.
Al Horford revenge, John. Come on. Al Horford revenge.
Listen, he stepped up against Jokic and had a season best game. So,
I mean, yeah, I'm not going gung ho for Al Horford.
He's a cash game play. 5,400. Yeah. He's a cash game play.
Yeah, if he's making shots, he hit 6 threes in that game. If he's making shots, like he has some pretty solid upside. Loondog. Who? 25 plus Kevin Looney. 25 minutes in 4 of his last 5. 9 or more rebounds in 3 straight. 25 plus fantasy points in 3 straight. Again,
all right.
Steve Kerr came out and said, I'm playing guys that play defense. And we know Kevin Looney, hustle guy, block shots.
Yeah, if they're not going to take him off the floor, I'll be in. Because he rebounds. He's a ridiculous rebounder. So,
and I think I'm going to throw another one out there. I know, I'm sorry, but if Banchero's out, Mo Bamba, 18, 24, 20 minutes last 3 games, 20 plus fantasy points in 3 straight games. So
sure, good spot for him. He's another kind of aggressive upside guy. So
he is. Yep.
Don't hate it. All right, build our lineup. Who's our spend up? Giannis or Curry?
I think it'll be easier for us to build with Curry, but also like SGA is 8,900. So
you want to build? Let's see what we can do with Giannis. We'll see if we can get him in there.
Okay.
Giannis at power forward.
Trey Jones for sure. Yep. I think like just that game and the value that he provides is too valuable for us.
Cannot spell Trey Jones. Here we go. Okay. Trey Jones and Giannis gives us 53.50 a player. Let's look at those cheap guards that we were kind of throwing.
We like there. Killian Hayes. We like Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Killian Hayes is 44 and Ivy's 62.
Right. Well, we like that 4K guard range, right? So
yeah, the Hayes,
Vincent, Burks, and Hayes, right?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I'm down to play 2 of them.
All right, let's play Hayes because we're pretty confident Hayes is going to start since there is no Cade Cunningham.
Agreed.
5,500 player with Hayes in the lineup. We liked Vassell, right, at 67.
Yeah. You know who we liked? Thad Young.
We did like Thad. Okay, well, Thad will be our center.
You know who else we liked? Jordan Poole, because they're not going to play Clay.
Sure. Poole's at 58. 6K a player for a small forward, and utility. So we can get
I like this build, dude. I'm not going to lie.
See if we get a second spend here.
SGA?
Sure, let's see.
You think we can afford? You think we can afford him?
He'll be a util.
We can move.
40, we can. 45.50 for a small forward and a forward.
I'm moving Shea to point guard and Trey Jones as a late night hammer into my util.
Eric Gordon is a small forward. You mentioned him. Otto Porter is 4K at small forward. Also,
I mean, he presumably starts, right? Like Otto Porter
started last game.
There's no reason to think he doesn't.
Norm is 48.
So we can go Porter. It would be Porter Norm essentially. So we have
a $5,100 forward. Yeah, it would be Porter Norm. If we were to go in that specific direction, and leave us 300 left over. That's with SGA and Giannis in our lineups there. if Paul gets ruled out, we have the money to go to Booker over SGA if we wanted to go in that direction as well.
Okay. Which we can, because as we both alluded to, it's a 12-point spread there if we're at all scared.
Yep. So Trey Jones, Jordan Poole, Otto Porter, Giannis, Thad Young, Killian Hayes, Norm Powell, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the example lineup we just built there. Ryan Kirksey on your playbook today. James and I will be in the Discord if you have any questions. You can also get us at Twitter. Feel free to do that. Like the video if you're watching this. Like, subscribe. If you're on the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. But likes and comments really help the YouTube video and the channel itself. So if you appreciate what we're doing here, it would be great for you to support that for us. And James and I will be back for tomorrow's live stream and podcast. Good luck. We'll talk to you guys later.